Hello, friends, and welcome to another episode of today's Conversations on Leadership. I'm your Dr. Gilles LaMarche, your host, and I'm thrilled to have with me today Miss Kareemah Hanifa. Kareemah assumed the role of director of the Chillon Project at Life University in November of 2024, and I'm so glad that you're joining us today, Kareemah, so you can tell us what got you there and how excited are you about the Chillon Project? What vision do you have, and what do you think you're going to accomplish in this role?
Okay, so thank you. First, let me say thank you for this opportunity to be here with you on today. And just a little bit about my background. So, I was incarcerated here in the state of Georgia from the age of 15 to 41 years old. While I was incarcerated, I was looking for ways to live a life of purpose. I had decided, okay, they sentence you to life in prison. You may never get out of prison. And so, what does that look like to live a wholesome life no matter where you are? And so, a part of that looked like academia, it looked like service, it looked like doing hair inside of the prison, it looked like caring for people that were physically and mentally disabled. And so on that pathway, there was an opportunity for me to be engaged and enrolled in college classes. At that time, we hadn't had any college classes since like 1996 or like the mid early 1990s in the Georgia prison system. And so, as the funders began to come in and Life University began to come in, they began to, we would have like these roundtable discussions about why academia was important. And I felt like it was my job to like make sure that Lee Arundel State Prison was the prison that got the college education because I needed to be in the program. And so after we completed that process, they started the Positive Human Development and Social Change program, which was a 2-year associate's degree. I remember learning to like name systems. A lot of times we see things that we think are unfair, but we don't realize that using the word unfair is almost like is not a very emotional, intelligent word to use, but being able to say like, hey, that's like biases, right? There are biases that are present, or being able to like identify that is an injustice, right? There are sentencing disparities that exist instead of saying, hey, it's not fair. This person had this charge and this person had that charge, and one person has 100 years and the other person has 6 months. Like, why is this happening? So, like, learning to be able to identify systems that exist and being able to name the systems that exist was just very intriguing to me. I remember a couple of times where during the formulating of the Shalon project, there would be like opportunities to do vision board exercises. We did a lot of like visualization, a lot of grounding exercises, because part of the Shalon project is also like the incorporation of the C model, which is the secular ethics component, where like grounding and meditation is also implemented. In an environment that can be very chaotic at times. And so I remember specifically asking, like, what do I do with an associate's in positive human development and social change, you know? And so Tom Flores and Dr. Fabizak brought in some like materials where I was able to see like ambassadorship, community organizing, like community outreach, social work, like working with people. And so, still at this time, I had no idea that I was going to be released from prison. And so I was trying to figure out, like, how can I utilize these tools, these skills, even inside of here? And so I remember specifically there being an assignment due for social sciences. And so, because we are like a cohort model, the professors basically decide what classes we're going to take as a cohort to complete the degree. And so the final was to do a TED Talk. So I remember doing a TED Talk about like how to wrap a hijab. And I remember coming out of Dr. Faberzak's office and saying, when I get out of prison, I'm going to do a TED Talk. And everyone laughed at me. They was like, ah, ha, ha, ha. She's so crazy, except I really did do a TED Talk,
I
right?
know, I
There was
know.
another opportunity where let's see, I told them, like, when I get out of prison, I'm going to be the director of Shalon. everyone laughed. Ah, ha, 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 right? And I'm like, they're always laughing at me. Now, I don't know how I'm going to get out of prison or when I'm going to get out of prison, but I believe in the power of like positive affirmations. I believe in the power of like journaling. And so, upon being released and being welcomed onto this campus here, I remember being shown the campus and being told like, hey, this is your school, this is where you belong. And I remember thinking, hey, well, since my mom lives 7 minutes from the university, I'm going to start coming here every Friday. And as people are released from prison, I'm going to take them on a tour. I'm going to take them to the swag shop. I'm going to take them to Socrates Hall, and I'm going to tell them, this is your school, you belong here. And so just like building out the program, finding like what the needs are of students that are being released back into community, and understanding that there's no way that you can be um, successful in academia if you don't have anywhere to sleep, if you don't have anywhere to live, if you don't have access to healthcare. And so finding ways to bridge the gaps that exist, and that a lot of times looks like resourcing, just pointing people in the right direction or connecting students that are being released from incarceration to resources that are background friendly, that understand that people make mistakes and that believe in second chances. And Life University is um, a university that has a powerful mission and a powerful vision statement where they do believe in like vitality, and they do believe in inclusion, and they do believe in like giving people second chances. And so um, it's an amazing environment. I love it here. I look forward to coming in every single day and just wondering like, how can I do a very small portion to help make the world a more beautiful place? Like what do I bring to the table? What value do I bring to the university? What value do I bring to the Chillon Project? And my vision is to continue to is to find methods, pathways to continue to use education as a response or a cure to some of the things that happen behind the walls of the prison, as a method to curb violence. It's something different when a lot of people that are incarcerated, they read a lot of books, but it's different when you just read a book for pleasure versus you're reading a book for critical thinking purposes, right? You see something different when you read. I've read many, many books that kind of were just floating around the institution, but to read it from an academic standpoint, and then to be able to take this information back to the dorms, to my peers, and say, hey, have you heard this story? Are you aware of this story? Are you aware of that this happened historically? And like, watch this positivity just flood out. Because when I applied for Life University back in 2000 and like 14 or 15, 500 people applied. I was one of the first 15. It was a blessing. So everybody wants to learn. It's an environment where you want something positive to focus on. And academia like changed my life. Academia changed my life. Something that I learned from being incarcerated and then coming home was that the exact same routine that I had while I was incarcerated is the same routine that I was able to follow once I was released. So being able to come on campus, being able to go into Blackboard and sign up for classes and stay connected to the same professors that I was connected to when I was inside, I believe is like responsible for me staying enrolled. I never took a gap. I've never taken a gap since I came home in 2019, and I haven't taken a gap since haven't taken a gap since I the classes in like 2015. So that's normalcy, as someone who has been incarcerated and you've had this label or this identity of per se a prisoner, right? To have a new identity as a student gives your life purpose, because we know as students it's not just about learning, it's also about teaching others what we have learned.
Well, you know,
So yeah.
before we started recording, I told you, obviously, I've seen your entire journey from the beginning, and I've been enamored watching you and seeing what you've been able to accomplish already. But as you said, you're on this continuous journey of learning and improvement. But you did your associate's degree, you did your bachelor's degree, you completed your master's degree, and now you've been hired to lead this project as we look at the potential of expanding it beyond where you started it all. And so
Yes.
what continued to give you the motivation and the inspiration for Kareemah to always show up being the best version of herself?
I think it's my love for people. And I also think it's my belief that we are all worthy of redemption. Like things happen and we can't undo what has happened.
Mm.
But I believe that when we have support, right? When we are received, when people like support us and embrace us, and we believe that, we have been forgiven by society, we've been forgiven by God, and also that we have forgiven ourselves, that we can all do what I have done. Like I always tell people, I am not a monolith, right? I'm not a unicorn. I'm not like, I may be the only person right now, but I don't believe that I am the only person that will ever achieve some of the things that I've achieved. I've always been very outgoing. Um, I can't, when I say outgoing, that's like an understatement. Like I'm just like, I'm gonna do it. I put all my strength, my whole being into obtaining whatever it is that I say that I'm going to obtain. And something that I heard while I was incarcerated is that 90% of the population will one day be released. They will be your neighbors. So do you want to know who your neighbor, or do you want to be afraid of your neighbor? And I think that academia, it's almost like an installment of humanity, a reinstallment of humanity. In a classroom, you feel like a human being. You feel like you're being heard. Your theory is being listened to, even though everyone may not agree to what you're saying, but that someone is listening to you, that your thoughts are being valued. All of these things are important when we think about like in community, because something that I've observed since I've been home is that if people don't feel like they fit in, then they will do something to go back where they came from, where like they almost had they had family, they had status, someone listened to them, or someone believed in them, because they don't feel like anyone is listening to them on this side. They're deemed like they have like the scarlet letter, almost like nobody believes in them because they made a mistake. So, and I think the academia helps us to rethink and reevaluate. The most powerful thing that I learned through the Chillon Project while I was incarcerated was about the prison project that was done, right? And it wasn't so much about the project, but it helped me to evaluate deviant behavior. It helped me to evaluate people's willingness to follow instructions from someone when they thought that they were an authority figure. And it just it helped to give me a perspective on people, I guess, from a sociological perspective and, of course, psychological perspective, just on people that in the end, we all want to be loved. We all want to be embraced. We all want to feel a sense of acceptance. And Life University has given me that from day one.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing this. And maybe as a closing question for you would be, what's your vision for the expansion of the Chillon Project as the director? Do you have a vision for what that could look like 5 years down the road?
Yes. So it's going to sound a bit as aspiring, if aspirational is a word. I would like for every person that is eligible to receive a college degree that is incarcerated to have access to that college degree. Like, I believe in an ideal world that everyone has access to education, and that when there is a disruption, that the response is meditation instead of more agitation, right? Ideal world, I would love to see a place where when things become chaotic, there's a space for people to do grounding and meditation, to center themselves so that they are not hyper emotional or hypo emotional, but like they're exactly where they need to be. And in a world that is perfect, I want every person that is incarcerated to have, if they are eligible, if they have a GED or a high school diploma, I want every single person to have access to the same or greater education than I did. And that is my goal. is to keep this thing going and to make sure that people have access. Because when you have access to academia, you realize that you have choices. A lot of times people don't know that choices exist.
And we know that the number one way to decrease recidivism is to have people get an education. And as a matter of fact, from the statistics I've seen from our Chillon Project, every woman who's been released, not one of those women that have been released has actually gone back to prison. So the recidivism rate of those who have gone through the Chillon Project is 0%. And that's exciting. I love your vision. I want you to know that I support your vision. I think it's a great vision. And certainly in the work that I do at the university, I'm having interactions with all sorts of people that could potentially bring funding to all of this. So we are very, very hopeful that the vision that you have will someday become a reality. And maybe just a short closing comment, but thanks so much for taking time to join me today. I know that our listeners will really benefit from hearing what you had to say.
Oh, well, thank you. Just thank you so much for this opportunity. And just remember in life, we all just need a little bit of grace. Grace will take you so far in life. And, if we say that we believe in second chances, then we should truly believe in second chances. And academia is a second chance for humanity.
You said, I wrote something down when you said a while ago, said everyone is worthy of redemption. And I was like, wow, that is a powerful statement. And I'm going to think about that a lot, certainly today. But that is the process that we choose to embark in at Life University when we talk about, lasting purpose, to give, do, love, serve from our own abundance with no expectation of return. So thank you for being one of those people. Thank you for being steadfast in your commitment to discovering that greatness inside of you. And now for being willing to share that with other people, helping them on their journey to redemption. So God bless you. Great to have you with me today. Thanks so much.
Thank you.